Bud Light. Bud Light, this is remarkable. I want to hold up my beer company. We're right now available in Tennessee. You can find us anywhere. Gratis. I mean, it is an awesome, fun, great tasting beer. I believe I have a can right over here. In fact, I'm going to step away for just a second. Here is my beer, right? And what I told you, what I tweeted out over the weekend is, I can guarantee you we're never going to put chicks with dicks in our advertising, all right? So I don't know how many of you saw the Bud Light marketing VP who explained why they decided to do this, why they decided to take a dude pretending to be a girl and try to use him/her to advertise their beer. The woman who's now in charge of marketing said that Bud Light's brand was, quote, fratty and out of touch humor. That's not accurate, I don't think. I think most men out there, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, and a lot of women as well, drink Bud Light because it's a genuinely easy, generic brand. And so if you're at a crowded bar and you're trying to decide, hey, what do I want to order for my group of friends, it's easy to just order Bud Light. It's usually behind the bar, relatively affordable. They can give you 4 or 5 of them. Boom, you're good to go. I'm not going to do that anymore. I will order another brand. I'll certainly be drinking my beer, but I think what I would say in general is this is what I see happen all too often. Let me give you an example. The Clay and Buck Show is the biggest radio show in the country. You combine podcasts, you combine radio. We're on 500 stations, tens of millions of podcast downloads, massive audience. We're number one in like 15 or 16 different markets. Huge audience out there. We haven't had, in the 2 years that I've been doing that show, we haven't had a single beer, a single restaurant, or a single car company advertise with us. Why is that? If every company out there just said, hey, you know what? We're going to try to reach the entire addressable market. And we're going to do super woke advertising, but we'll also advertise for normal, everyday dudes who just like to kick back and have a beer at the end of their workday. Kind of people who might listen to Clay and Buck. Kind of people who might be reading Outkick every day. Kind of people might be watching and listening to this right now. If they just decided, hey, we're going to try to reach the entire addressable market for beer consumers, I'd nod my head and say, okay, you know what? That makes sense. That's smart of you to try to reach everybody. They don't do it. They have decided that people like me who say things like men should compete against men in athletics and women should compete against women, that's unacceptable. That's controversial. What's not controversial is a dude pretending to be a woman. Somehow that's what you want to endorse. But if they just said to everybody, hey, beer company, car company, restaurant, hey, we want to be the official beer restaurant or car company of Outkick or of Clay and Buck or whatever it is, I would say, hey, you know what? Good for you. You can advertise to the whole addressable market. Maybe there's this huge transgender community that is just desperate to drink beer, and they haven't felt like they were welcome to drink beer. Crazy. At this point. And so now, boy, you've got a huge market. But I would say the number one rule of marketing in general should be don't alienate your base while you add absolutely no one in the process. And I think that's exactly what Bud Light did. Because I think these marketers now, these woke marketers, they have no idea about the brand. I bet this chick never drank Bud Light. And she's sitting around in New York City or LA, whatever big city her advertising agency is based in. And she's talking to all of her woke friends. And she's like, what would make you want to drink a Bud Light? And the answer is nothing. These people that she's talking to are never going to drink a Bud Light because it's not high class enough for them. And they say, oh, well, maybe if you guys were more inclusive. Maybe if you guys were less fratty. Maybe if you guys had less out-of-touch humor, then maybe I'd be interested in consuming your product. And so what do? Listen to this focus group of people that would never drink Bud Light and decide you're going to try to appeal to them. It's a tiny addressable market in the first place. And in the process, you alienate your core audience. It's the worst possible decision from a marketing perspective. So what all these woke advertising agencies do, And I wasn't even surprised when I saw this. And by the way, it's not just Bud Light. Nike also got this random dude to try to sell sports bras to women. And my response is, some people get furious. Some people get angry. You can easily make the choice, hey, I'm not going to consume that product. But over time, that becomes frustrating to try to keep up with everything. Here's what you should do. Here's what you should do. Start your own companies. And I mean this honestly. I was frustrated with the way that I saw sports media covering sports. And so I started Outkick and built it into a big audience. We may be top 5 biggest sports sites by the fall on the internet, from nothing to top 5. That's because there's a huge demand for what we put out there, for our product. That could be the case for so many other products. That's why I started this beer company. It's why I'm part owner of this beer company. I'm going to be, again, try it out, especially if you're in Tennessee. We're everywhere. That's why I'm going to be starting a bunch of new companies, because I'm not going to be disrespectful of the audience. I'm going to say, look, you can. I want to sell to everybody. Look, if you're trans and you want to drink our beer, I hope you go buy 1 billion of them, right? I want everybody to consume the products that I am trying to sell, but I'm not going to sell to woke programming, right? I'm not going to artificially insult my audience, because I understand that audience. And so what I am seeing is a great deal of economic opportunity. Some people get angry, and I understand the concept of anger. I would rather focus on opportunity. Entrepreneurs don't get angry and do nothing. They get angry, and then they say, okay, if you're alienating this huge portion of your audience, what if I serve them? I mean, that's the story of Outkick, right? That's why Outkick is so big. I started Outkick back in 2011 because I thought my audience was being underserved. At the time, that was people who loved SEC football. There was hardly anybody covering it in a big scale. We developed a big audience, and then we just continued to expand it. And like I said, we may be a top 5 site by football season. We're already top 10, already hit that this last football season. From nothing to top 10 in the marketplace. There is a huge opportunity out there if you are able to take advantage of it, regardless of what industry you're in. And I think what we're going to be doing, and again, this is because of the marketplace, I think we're going to be moving increasingly into this idea of red and blue. And you're going to support somebody who has similar values to you, and you're going to leave behind all this woke ridiculousness. And I think companies like Bud Light are going to start to hemorrhage support because they've made the decision to go woke, and I think it's a really poor decision for their brands.